Hi, all. I just wanted to join in and do a live reading of one of our stories and also to give you an update because we have had quite the adventurous month here in the Nightlight Stories household. And a lot of you have been asking how Tucker has been doing. So I thought, and we'll catch up on what happened, I thought it would be great if we brought him in here and talked to him ourselves. For those who don't know, Tucker had to have an appendectomy suddenly right after Thanksgiving. It was a Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then he came home and he was healing. But then a week after, he got a pretty good infection. So he had to go back in the hospital and he was there for 5 days. So a lot of you have been asking how he is doing. And so we thought it was a good idea to maybe have him update you himself. So let me get him. Hey, Tucker. Oh, there he is. Come on in, Tuck.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
Here he is in the flesh.
Hi.
So we were just talking about your big adventure.
Yes. That was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were really well taken care of, though.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
The nurses were very nice. The doctors were great.
Yeah, they loved you a lot.
Yeah.
And we could not have asked for. So big shout out to the nurses at Inova Hospital in the pediatrics ward and your surgeon and all the doctors that were helping you out. But
yeah,
those nurses were something. I loved them.
Yeah.
And they loved you.
They did, yeah.
So we just wanted to catch up because what we're going to be live reading today is Stitches. That was the last time.
I had a big hospital visit.
Yes. Why did you have to have a hospital visit in 2010 when we wrote Stitches?
Let's see. We were going on a hike. I got dirty. I went to the shower. I didn't like getting water in my eyes. So every time I got water in my eyes, I would close my eyes. And I got out of the shower with my eyes closed. And I bent down with my eyes closed. And I hit right here on the sink. And I split it open.
Yes.
And then I went to the hospital and I had to get 5 stitches.
Yes. Whew. But that wasn't your first time.
No. My first time I tripped on a metal box.
Yep.
Right, and hit right here on the corner of a metal box. So it's always interesting, and 2 truths and a lie. I can always trip people up by saying I almost lost both eyes.
So it was something. It was always an adventure with Tucker. He loved climbing and doing things, and then super adventurous, and then he closed his eyes when he got water in his eyes. So, but I do want to say that you did get a few stitches this time too.
I did?
Yes.
Oh.
From your appendix.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought they just glued it.
So at first they glued it, but then remember when you had to go back in?
Oh, they stitched this one?
Yeah, so you had to have a little drain put in to drain out the infection.
Yeah.
So Tucker had some stitches for that one.
How many did I get? I don't remember.
Tucker was really out of it because he had to, he was in a lot of pain. So, and he was sleeping quite a bit to ward off the infection and all the antibiotics they were giving him. But you were super brave.
Yeah.
What was the worst part of it?
The worst part was probably when I went in on the first day. I was having lots of pain across my stomach and just always a dull like ball in my right side above my right hip.
And then it went away.
Yeah.
Once they took care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what else did you have to have done? You had a lot of stuff done.
I had to get my appendix taken out, and then I had to get that all healed, and then I went home, recovered, and then I stopped recovering and started getting worse, and then I had to get a drain put in me, and that was
a whole
in
new
there
IV.
Oh yeah, 2 whole new IVs, because the one right here stopped working, so I had to get one right here.
Because apparently IVs don't like to be in an arm for 5 days. So
apparently.
So now you're home. How are you feeling? Fill us in.
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do everything normally, although I probably still shouldn't.
Yeah. So, and you're sleeping a lot again.
I am, yeah.
And you're eating a lot again.
Yeah, I only woke up like an hour and a half ago. So.
Perfect, because we are still on holiday break.
Yeah, we're still on break.
So what is your biggest, if somebody has to go into the hospital, what's your biggest advice for them? What would you say?
Uh, Nurses know what they're doing, and you're not gonna get hurt too badly. Maybe just a few pricks here and there
Yeah.
with the IV, uh, some needles to put you under. Maybe not even. Not everyone has to have that. Just and
Maybe
they know
stay
how to take.
calm.
Yeah, stay calm. Be respectful to the nurses because they're trying their best.
Yeah. Yeah. And really listen, right?
Yeah.
You and I think did a great job. And when Daddy came in, of listening to when they were talking. And our favorite doctor, she loved to draw pictures while she was explaining it.
Yeah.
And then she connected it to your biology class. She was awesome. So just really listening and asking good questions. You did a good job with that too.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We're glad you're okay.
I'm glad I'm okay too.
All right. Well, I'm going to read Stitches, so we'll talk to you soon.
Have fun.
Thanks for updating. Oh, there you go. All righty. So, you got it? There you go.
Have fun.
Thank you very much, and thanks for coming to update us all.
Of course.
So this story is Stitches, and this was about the time when Tucker was 5, his second set of stitches in his eyes, because what he had described. So we wrote a story about it to help others who go into the hospital and had to get stitches if you needed some. If you've had stitches before, we'd love to hear about it, see how you're doing. Any advice for anybody else that might have to go in, but just really remaining calm and making sure that you're asking good questions and doing what you're asked to do. So Stitches by Chris and Melissa Bouguet. Tonight was not the best night that I ever had. I sustained an injury. It hurt me really bad. It all started when we decided to take a hike out on the trail. We collected lots of acorns. We filled up our whole pail. Picking treasures off the ground leads to filthy feet and hands. I suppose that's just a consequence of exploring exotic lands. My mom says you're supposed to get dirty when you hike. She says that dirt won't hurt you. Get as much as you like. After we had traveled home, I knew what lay ahead. A quick stop in the bathroom before I jumped in bed. Showers all around, Mom yelled as we walked back through the door. I'm not that dirty, I protested, but she would hear no more. Clothes into the hamper, grabbed a towel on my way. Mama's no one to mess with at the end of a very long day. I got right in, I grabbed the soap, I made a foamy mess. Armpits, legs, and stinky toes, I cleaned them more or less. As dirt trickled off my body, from head to arms to hip, carefully I shuffled forth. I didn't want to slip. Despite some water in my ears, I heard my mama say, "It's my turn next, so hurry up. We haven't got all day." I turned off all the water and stepped onto the floor. Freezing cold, I looked around. My towel was by the door. I started marching forward, carefully as a cat. I didn't want to slip and fall and land with a splat. But then you know what happened? What took me by surprise? 2 huge drips of water rolled right into my eyes. I closed them quickly, got distracted, tried to wipe them out, but I was already moving forward when I heard my mama shout, "Watch where you're going." Is that what I thought I heard? It happened all so quickly, my memory is blurred. When I bent down for the towel with water in my eyes, I banged into the sink. I screamed out in surprise. Pain flared across my face, and I began to cry. I grabbed my head in agony as my hand covered my eye. Before I even knew it, my mom was by my side. Her arms were wrapped around me, holding me as I cried. Okay, I need to see it. she whispered in my ear. I didn't want to move my hand. All I felt was fear. Take a breath and count to 10. The pain will go away. Accidents will happen, is what I heard her say. Sure enough, by number 9, it didn't feel so bad, like a magic potion had healed me, and for that I was glad. Mama called to Daddy. Of course he needed to see how brave I was about the bump and come to comfort me. I heard his footsteps down the hall as he came to see the sight. A little thud was all it was, a strange way to end the night. He came right in and bent down too. Let's take a little look. He pulled away my tiny hand, his shoulders he just shook. We need to head to a doctor, I suddenly heard him say. You have a cut that's deep and wide. Then we were on our way. In the car and on the road, I held the cloth with ice. I wished this wasn't happening, but that cloth sure felt nice. Is the doctor's office open? This is very late at night. I wondered if my family doc had a cool nightlight. Sorry, son, my daddy did say. Our doctor's place is closed. We're headed to the hospital. And with that, I just froze. She must have seen me panic because she blew me a sweet kiss. It's called the ER, darling. Nothing is amiss. What's the ER? I asked, not really wanting to know. The E is for emergency. It's where we need to go. What is the R for, Mama? I was curious about the letter. It stands for room, my dear. It makes you feel all better. That's when I saw it, a glowing bright red sign. Emergency room, it read. We made it just in time. The car was parked and in we walked. Behind a desk there sat a lady. I wasn't sure what to think at first. She looked a little shady. She was wearing a white shirt that was covered in baboons. Who wears a shirt like that, I wondered. I'd find out really soon. Sign in here, she pointed to a pencil and a sheet. I'll call you when I'm ready. For now, just have a seat. We waited for a minute or 10 in a room with one TV. The show was really boring, and I started feeling sleepy. Just when I started to close my eyes, the nurse called out my name. We're gonna fix you up real good. Your head will be just the same. We followed the nurse back to a room, and she took my height and weight. She asked me lots of questions. I did my best, but it was late. She asked me, how'd you do that? So I explained the whole event. She told me I'd need stitches. I didn't know what that meant. The doctor's going to stitch you up, she said with a small grin. He'll use a tiny needle and the thread that's really thin. Now, I wasn't sure that she was crazy. I was sure that this nurse was crazy. She had this shirt with apes. I looked at all the exits and I plotted my escapes. That's when I heard her say it and my ears began to ring. We're going to give you medicine so you won't feel a thing. I looked up at my mother and she seemed quite convinced that she was telling us the truth, or I'm sure she would have winced. We followed her down another hall and stopped in a bright room. She told me to rest on the bed and the doc would be in soon. The room was super cheery with Thomas stickers all about. I snuck a peek at Mom and Dad and neither were freaking out. Piece of cake, I told myself, a little cut on my forehead. I've had worse in my 5 years, so I stretched out on the bed. Then a few minutes later, I'm not sure how long it was, a man came in the room and said, I'm Dr. Buzz. He said that he was busy as a bee, but that I shouldn't worry, that he'd take great care of me. With that, he disappeared, walking back the way he came. I wondered in my heart of hearts if that was his real name. He came back with a bandage, his hand all full of gauze. He soaked it with something wet, and then he took a little pause. This won't hurt, he promised. It's just a little cold. I'm going to tape it to your head. Be brave, my little 5-year-old. I felt a bit of pressure, but it didn't even sting. I'll be back in 20 minutes, he said. Do not touch a thing. I followed his instructions, just laying there in bed with a giant bandage taped to my head. Dad took out the camera and grabbed a couple pics. He said I'd want to remember this when I turned the age of 6. 23 minutes later, I know because I watched the clock. Dr. Buzz returned once more, and I was sure he was in shock. Wow, you didn't touch it. Not touching it is kind of tough. You know what that must mean, kid. You are really tough. Now tell me something else. Be honest and don't lie. Can you feel your cut anymore? Look me in the eye. I snuck a peek at Daddy, who said, "Tell him, chum." I shook my head, and the doctor said, "Good, that means you're numb." Ripping open some paper, he pulled out gloves the color green that clung tight to his fingers. It was quite the scene. He asked if I was ready, and I gave him a quick shrug. I'd rather be home in bed, snug as a bug in a rug. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, this won't hurt a bit." Then I saw him pull the needle out from inside his kit. "Maybe 5 is all you'll need," Dr. Buzz said with a wink. "But I won't know for sure. That's only what I think." He was going to stitch my head to make sure my wound stayed closed. I felt a sudden tingle go straight down to my toes. Then all at once it was happening. I thought I'd feel a prick, but I didn't feel a thing at all. That was really one cool trick. I closed my eyes and relaxed, just as he told me to. In no time at all, he said that we were through. A little pull here, a tiny tug there. I barely felt a twitch. Who knew it would be so easy to get stitch after stitch after stitch? Dr. Buzz sat me up in my very special bed. "Nice job there, champ," is exactly what he said. He gave my mom a tube, an ointment of some kind. He said to put it on me at home, and she said she wouldn't mind. I asked Dr. Buzz a question before he turned to go. Will I have these stitches forever? How was I supposed to know? He told me in a week or 2, if I kept it clean and dry, I would see the stitches fade right before my eye. I thanked him for the work he'd done and gave another wink. And he gave another wink. He told me that the next time I shouldn't pick a fight with a sink. We hope you enjoyed this story. And once again, if you have gotten stitches or had to go to the hospital, be in the emergency room because maybe you weren't feeling so great, send us your story. And maybe we will post some of those pictures up of you being brave. All right. Well, I hope you have a great day, everybody. Hey, Happy New Year's. Everybody stay safe and stay well, and welcome 2021. Have a great day, all.